All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be digging into something
Okay.
that honestly you probably haven't thought much about, but it affects all of us
Yeah.
every single day.
Okay.
We're talking about government procurement.
Right.
Sounds kind of boring,
Yeah.
like, oh, the government buying stuff. But trust me, this is way more interesting than it sounds.
Okay.
And we've got a really fascinating article here all about how the General Services Administration, or GSA, is using all this crazy new technology to kind of shake things up.
Oh, wow.
So we're talking artificial intelligence,
Uh-huh.
AI,
Mm-hmm.
cloud computing,
Yeah.
all the buzzwords. And the big question is,
Yeah.
how's this all going to work? How's the government going to use this stuff
Right.
to buy things better and faster and more efficiently?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to kick things off,
Yeah.
our main source is an article all about this group called the GSA's Acquisition Policy Federal Advisory Committee.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, but thankfully they shortened it to GAP-FAC.
GAP-FAC.
Okay. So JPPF is basically this group of experts, and they're tasked with figuring out how to use all these emerging technologies to modernize how the government buys all its stuff.
Well, that's interesting. So they're not just like, sticking with the old ways. They're actually trying to figure out how to improve things.
They're like, let's completely revamp this whole system.
Wow.
Like taking something
Yeah.
that's been done the same way for decades,
Right.
and saying, all right, how do we bring this into the 21st century?
That's cool.
And they're serious about it because they just appointed 14 new members to JPFAC.
Okay.
And these are all experts in all these different fields: academia, industry, government, you name it.
So it's like a really well-rounded group of people.
Yeah, it's like they're building the procurement A-team here.
I like that, the procurement A-team.
So one of the biggest things that they're focusing on, that this article talks about, is AI-powered procurement.
Okay, now that sounds a little scary. AI buying things for the government.
It does sound a little sci-fi, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah.
But think about it for a second. What if you could have AI that sifts through all this massive amounts of data to find the best deals,
Yeah.
the best suppliers,
Okay.
all the stuff that would take humans hours and hours and hours?
Mm-hmm.
What if AI could just do it like that?
That would definitely save a lot of time and probably money, too.
Exactly. And then those human employees could focus on the more complicated stuff, the stuff that really needs like a human brain to figure out.
Right, like strategy and, planning.
Yeah, exactly. Like negotiating,
Yeah,
complex contracts, or maybe dealing with some ethical considerations.
that makes sense.
So AI isn't taking over everything. It's more like giving humans a really powerful tool.
Yeah, like augmenting their abilities.
Right, exactly.
So it's not just about, like, saving a few bucks on paper clips. It's about...
It's way bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's about making the whole system smarter,
Okay.
more strategic, and frankly, more efficient.
And what else are they looking at besides AI?
So another huge area
Mm-hmm.
that this article digs into is the cloud.
The cloud.
Everybody's talking about the cloud these days.
Right.
And GCAP University is really pushing for a cloud-first strategy.
What does that mean exactly, cloud first?
So it basically means moving all these government agencies to cloud-based solutions. Think about it like this. You've got this clunky old filing cabinet full of paper and folders, and it's a mess.
Okay.
It's hard to find anything. It takes forever.
Right.
But then you switch to a digital system. Everything's organized. It's searchable. It's accessible from anywhere.
I see. So it's kind of like that for government procurement. They're trying to digitize everything and make it more accessible.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of the cloud.
Yeah.
Everything's in one place. It's secure. It's scalable.
Okay.
So as the government needs change, the cloud can adapt really easily.
That's pretty cool. But I do have one question.
Yeah.
What about security?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you brought it up.
Right.
Because I was thinking the same thing. We hear about all these data breaches.
Yeah, all the time.
And I immediately thought, well, if the government puts all this sensitive information in the cloud, isn't that just making it a bigger target for hackers? But the article actually addresses that directly.
Okay, good.
They say the GSA is taking cybersecurity super seriously, and they're pushing for something called a zero-trust security model.
Zero trust. What is that? Like nobody's trusted?
Well, it's not quite that extreme,
Okay.
but basically it means no device is automatically trusted. Everything has to be verified.
So kind of like two-factor authentication, but for everything.
Exactly. It's like having multiple layers of security. So even if someone gets past one layer, there are more layers to stop them.
Okay, so it's like a defense-in-depth approach.
Yeah, you can think of it like that.
Yeah.
Multiple layers of protection to keep that data safe.
All right, that makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, me too. So we've got AI, we've got the cloud. What else is GAP, FEC kicking out?
Well, this is something I found really interesting. They're really emphasizing sustainability.
Well, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Because it seems like everything the government does has such a huge impact.
Exactly. And that's kind of the point.
Okay.
They want to use their buying power to push the market in a more sustainable direction.
So how are they actually doing that?
Well, think about it this way. If the government decides to only buy electric vehicles, for example, that sends a huge signal to automakers. It's like saying, hey, we're serious about this electric vehicle thing.
You better start making more of them.
Right? And that could lead to lower prices for electric vehicles. For everyone, not just the government.
That's a really cool ripple effect.
Yeah, and it's not just electric vehicles. They're also looking at things like requiring recycled materials in new government buildings.
Oh, wow.
That could really boost the market for recycled materials and encourage companies to develop more sustainable products.
So it's like they're not just buying things, they're actually shaping the market for the better.
Exactly. It's a very proactive approach.
And the article also mentions that they want to support domestic manufacturing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, to reduce the carbon footprint associated with shipping goods long distances.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's really a holistic approach to sustainability.
That sounds like it.
So to sum it all up, the GSA is making some major changes to government procurement. They're bringing in experts. They're exploring AI and cloud solutions. They're prioritizing cybersecurity. And they're making sustainability a key part of the equation.
It's a pretty ambitious agenda.
It really is, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what kind of impact these changes will have, not just on the government, but on the economy as a whole.
That's a great point. And it's a question I want to leave everyone with today.
Okay.
How do you think these changes will affect your world, your job, your community? Because like you said, this is just the beginning, and the impacts are likely to be far-reaching. So until next time, keep those brain gears turning, and we'll see you on the next Deep Dive.